Thank you for coming. Welcome to the grand opening of the Innovation Learning Center. I'm Sean Gallagher, Superintendent Lake County School District number 7. To kind of introduce our head table up here over on my far left is Christy Tveit, who's the KCC Lake County Program Coordinator, and it's a figure on the top. On my immediate left, Dr. Nancy Gold. She is the Chief Education Officer in the state of Oregon. Let's give her a warm welcome. Out to my right is Dr. Gutierrez, who is the KCC President. Let's give him a round. So again, I really appreciate you coming out this afternoon. The Innovation Learning Center has been going for about a year now, and you're going to hear some great success stories today. You're going to hear some testimonials. You're going to hear some words from Dr. Nancy Gold, the keynote speaker, and I just want to welcome everybody here. I do have a few people I would like to introduce in the audience today. We do have 3 of our school board members with us today. Rebecca Hart. Rebecca, could you wait? And the school board member, Stephanie Roseberry. Stephanie. And Daryl Anderson, school board member. Also, we have Ray Sims from Town of Lakeview. Jim Walls from LCRI. Gentleman up in front here has been a big part of this project. He was Michael Mills from the Oregon Solutions Project. Let's go. And also Commissioner Shannon, there you are in the back. Let's go. So again, thanks for being here. We really appreciate your time. Dr. Gutierrez, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? It has been a pleasure serving sister county or sister program that's underserved, underrepresented. This started about a year or so ago, I think over here, we can serve this county, and it's just taken off from there. We couldn't have had the really strong leadership from the commissioners, from the mayor, you, Sean. I mean, I was just sharing that he came here with an idea, how can we serve? But because people knew you, they trusted you, they really set the pathway for KTC and myself, and I really appreciate that. And here's the outcome that we have. We have, it's a very important that we serve high schools, the citizens, because our populace is changing, the workforce is changing. Where it used to be that a person could go out from a high school, even a high school dropout, and get a good paying job, be part of the enterprise. So that is changing. That's not an option for the new workforce, the new high school students. You need to have some kind of post-secondary education. Those jobs, manufacturing jobs that just require a high school education, those jobs are gone. That's the new reality, and that's why this is important for me, important for the college to be here to serve this community. So, now welcome. The thing that I have learned too, I've learned quite a bit about when a community comes together, this is the thing that can happen. So we're not taking that all out elsewhere, including our county. So thank you.
I've been asked this question a lot, and the question I'm asking is, what is the Innovation Learning Center? What is the ILC? Well, really, it's a higher education program that's owned by Lake County School District number 7. It's designed to provide higher educational opportunities in a very remote and rural setting, such as Lake. We not only want to serve our existing high school students within our home region and area, but also the community members within our region. And you can hear some testimonial today from existing ILC students. And I think it's important to recognize that the ILC was originally named the Western Regional Innovation and Learning Center, but really, it just didn't fall off the tongue very well. So we kind of trimmed the name a little bit, and now it's called simply the Innovation and Learning Center. And the school district, Lake County School District number 7, is contracted with Climate Community College to provide the foundational programming services. And as Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, this has really been a team effort, and I've got to thank personally all the commissioners for their help with this, because without their support, with the current agreement, this could not happen. And so I know that there's been leaps of faith taken on both sides, and I'm hoping that the outcomes are very pleasing to everybody, and we certainly appreciate their support. Also, I've got to say a big thank you to KCC for actually taking the chance of being over here. You know, if you think about our population, we only have about 800 people in this county. And if you sit down with pencil and paper, start doing the math, sometimes it may not very well, but they saw the need. They saw that this was a population that needed a strong higher educational presence. And so I must in turn say thank you to Dr. Gutierrez, his board of directors, and his leaders over Klamath Falls and Klamath County for their support of taking the chance on us. And that has really been instrumental. In fact, I think that deserves a round of applause. In March 2013, the Innovation Learning Center was designated as an Oregon Solutions Project, fully endorsed by Governor Kitzhaber. Michael Mills, as I introduced earlier, is the Oregon Solutions Coordinator, and he's here with us today to celebrate this great event. And
we have members of project.
yes, in fact, when we do that, any of those members that are been part of the Oregon Solutions Project team, you wouldn't mind standing at this particular moment? Stand so we can recognize you. I noticed there's a couple of shy members that didn't stand. I could always point them out. But anyway, just want to say thank you so much for their help. This really has been a true team effort, and their advisement, their dedication, their willing to commit to this project has really been instrumental in getting everything together and moving forward. Keep in mind that KCC Lake County, which is part of the Innovation Learning Center, currently delivers education in 3 different modalities. 1 is your traditional face-to-face, 2 is online, and 3 is synchronous, the high-speed video conferencing equipment. And if you think about that, that's been the #1 barrier for bringing higher education to a remote rural setting. If you only have 2 or 3 students that need speech 111, it doesn't pencil out to hire an instructor to teach that class face-to-face. But when you have the high-speed video conferencing, oh, now you can join the class already being taught over the Klamath, and suddenly it comes to fruition and availability is there. And so as a result, Christy, I've got to spill the beans, I'm sorry. I've been waiting to give you this, but I got to tell you, Christy Tveit is our Lake County coordinator, and she has just been instrumental this year in terms of being a one-stop shopping unit. I mean, she is your career advising, she's your programming test coordinator, she is your financial aid advisor, she is everything. So if you know anybody that is remotely thinking about going to college, make sure that you have them go see Christy, because she can kind of talk about the whole realm. And because of, we can sit here and design all these wonderful programs and the budget and all that sort of stuff, but it's the person down in the trenches that really makes it happen, and that's got to be Christy. And as a result, the ILC has served over 99 students this last year and granted over 800 transferable college credits.
Wow.
I think, wow. And it really has grown faster than what we expected. That's been part of the issue this year, is just trying to keep up with the demand. There's a few foundational components that normally you would do on the front end. We just haven't gotten to do that because we've been trying to keep up with the demand in the program. So we're really excited about this. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Christy now. I think she has a few words to share. And she's also going to have a future student come up and share with you what the ILC means and that. So let's welcome Christy to join you.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Dr. Gutierrez, for giving me the opportunity to put this program together. It's been about 11 months ago, Dr. Gutierrez charged me with Okay, Christy, here's what we want. Will you go build your house? And knowing that I'm a landscape architect and building and construction are part of my vocabulary, I said, you got it. So it's with great pride that I stand up here today, because it's for the students that we do this work. And it's hugely important, and I am passionate about it. So I just want to thank everyone that's involved that brought us together and allowed me to get part of it. And I can't wait to see where we go from here and where we go from here. So with that being said, I have two of our students here that I'd like to come up and share some of their experience, Kristen Thompson and Hope Arrington.
Good afternoon and welcome. I just want to first take the opportunity to say thank you so very much for loving my heart, for everybody that was involved in getting this put together. This college and the Innovation Learning Center has meant a lot to me and to my family. I left corporate America and decided to go back to school, and I'm going to obtain an associate's degree in mortuary science. There's only one school in all of Oregon that offers that degree, and it's not Clay County, and it's not Clay County. So thankfully, with the Innovation Learning Center and Cameron Community College, I'm able to piecemeal this degree together and actually get my mortuary science degree, so that I can then stay in Lakeview, raise my family in Lakeview, purchase a business in Lakeview, and continue living and enjoying the little life that we have here. So I want to say thank you so much to everybody for that. I just wanted to also say that I couldn't have done this without the great teachers that we have. I've been able to take the online classes. I've been able to take the synchronous classes. And just to be able to have those synchronous classes and have that lecture that you get, even though you're not in your classroom, is greatly beneficial. I think that online classes are wonderful also, but for me as a student, I get more out of lecture and actually being able to interact with my classmates and with my professor. And so those synchronous classes have allowed me to do that and to be able to interact and learn a learning style for me that is greater than online classes. I also want to say, without Christy, none of this would have been possible for me. She has been very instrumental, like I said, having to piecemeal this together with another college in Oregon, and helping me get my classes, and helping me stay focused, and helping me keep on track, and working with that college to articulate courses back and forth to make sure they match, and that I'm taking the right classes, and helping me get the classes here in Lakeview that I need to go on and further my education. So thank you very much, Christy. And thank you very much for KCC and all the people that are involved in helping me keep my family here and to stay in this community and better the economy and better the experience for rural living. So thank you. To be honest, 2 hours ago I was finishing the house appointment, so I'm a little struggling. I'm working towards my art degree. And I was full-time and I work part-time if possible in the ER. It gives you a much broader picture of what a nurse can do, and it makes sure you really want to do what you're doing. And I can't do that and stay with my family and Lakeview without KCC. I have 2 children now in college, 1 in high school. And the thought of having to leave so I can get my education and not suffer from empty nest syndrome was very rough. And I found that the synchronous classes for AAP, I gotta have something that can give me a skeleton and I can tell you what it is. But they put it on the screen, it's a little harder. So the class selection here was fabulous. And I really can't wait till the nursing program starts, because one of the benefits of living out here is you know what you need. You know that you're going to maybe go to the grocery store and buy 100 pounds of flour. You know that going to town all the time isn't going to happen. And working in the hospital, we get nurses in that it's a big wake-up call because they live a block away from a grocery store. So a lot of times they'll come, they'll have a great experience, but within 2 years, they need more conveniences. And Lake County, we kind of like it, but we don't have it. So I think that the hospital will be more prepared and they'll just have a better experience if we can get more homegrown nurses. People who've grown up here, people who know what they need to do and what they can expect for resources, and maybe how to bring in more resources. So I think that KCC is helping build our community. It's going to take a couple of years because we're new, but I cannot say thank you enough because I can stay home with my family. Not embarrassed my kids go to school with them. And I can help build the community that I always wanted to see.
You know, the Innovation Learning Center fully aligns with recent initiatives that have been passed by the Oregon Education Investment Board, including what is called 40-40-20 legislation. And if you think about that just for a moment, 40-40-20 means the goals set by the state legislative assembly that by the year 2025, 40% bachelor's, 40% associates with their equivalent of 20% high school graduates. If you think about that, to even start to attain that goal, we have to have a 100% graduation rate from our high schools. The Innovation Learning Center is fully involved with trying to expand our dual credit opportunities for our high school students. This last year we had around a dozen of our high school students actually physically take classes at the ILC. So it's a major component to expose those students to the higher ed realm, because that's what they can dictate their future success. Also, 80% of those 100% that just graduated are going to have to move on for higher education and to really attain 40-40-20. And so we have to be able to take higher ed out of communities. I think that's a given for rural Oregon. I see this as a quintessential example of what should be duplicated throughout the region. I do know that Modoc County is currently looking at this model and saying, hey, we want some of this too. And they're looking at duplicating. And Dr. Nancy Golden is our keynote speaker today because she represents a lot of the initiatives and leadership that the state of Oregon is moving towards with the Oregon Education Investment Board and the 40-40-20 goals. Another major component is the continuum between pre-primary all through grade 20. How are we all working collaboratively together on this? How are we helping a high school student that might be ready to start their college career as a junior in high school rather than delaying that? How are we helping students that may be falling behind and to reduce the amount of remedial type courses that students have to spend their money on in the collegiate environment? So Dr. Nancy Golden was named 2011 Oregon Superintendent of the Year. She's the former director of the University of Oregon Administrative Licensure Program. She's a very frequent speaker at leadership conferences throughout the state and the region. You see her picture all over the place. It's a beautiful picture, by the way. She also serves on a variety of local and state level boards. A lot of people are seeking her advice, and she's really at the cutting edge of a lot of these initiatives, as well as being actively involved in the Oregon Education Investment Board. Dr. Nancy Golden was recently hired by Governor John Kitzhaber and OEIP as the Oregon's Chief Education Officer. And so without further ado, let's just give a warm welcome to Dr. Nancy Golden.
Thank you so much. I think it was in September that Sean started talking about the Innovation Learning Center. We were at off-the-record meeting when the superintendents come together, and I listened to what he had to say, and I said, oh my goodness, this is terrific, and I have to be there. So I think I've been driving you crazy ever since, saying, don't forget to invite me to this wonderful event, because I want to spend some time just talking to you and really telling you why I think this is so amazing and so sensational. I do want to begin with just a personal story. The travel over here was so beautiful, and I'm originally from New York, although I've been here 42 years, but I've raised my children here, but I've only been here one other time. It was with my mother, who is no longer with me, and she told me this is the most beautiful drive she'd ever been on. So today, as I drove back, not only did I feel like I was coming to God's country, but there's such a deep connection between me and my mother again. So I want you to know how special this is and how much my mother is present with me today as I talk about this Innovation and Learning Center. So, Sean talked a little bit about the 40-40-20 goal, and what that really means is that 100% of our students will graduate from college, 40% will go into our 4-year colleges, 40% into our 2 years, and 20% will go into the world of work, career and college credits. Now, for the governor and for all of us who are working on this from the state level, we call that our North Star. We talk about that is where we're going to go together. Now, there's many people who say, we really think that's possible. And what I want to say to you, with projects like this, I absolutely think it's possible. I have seen partnerships, connections, things happen in this community that I've seen in few other communities. In fact, this community is becoming a model for many other communities in the state because they've broken barriers, they created a compelling vision, they got together, and I'm talking about people getting together, including the community college president, the superintendent, the public utility, the CEO of the hospital, and I could go on and on, really coming together, because what this community is saying is we're going to wrap our arms around our students, and we're going to make sure that our students have the best education possible so that they can stay in this community, and if they decide not to stay in this community, they will always love the community that caused them to become who they are now. I'm also going to, tomorrow at the commencement speech, say, please stay in your communities. Our rural communities need you, but if you leave, never forget them. And never forget them in a way that when you become a legislator, you're advocating on behalf of rural communities. That is what makes us a great state, is our rural communities. When you become a successful business person, maybe the next Steve Jobs, don't forget us so you can give money back to the community college and back to the school district and back to the communities. Because this is the community that really will have caused you to launch, as we like to say. So I think Sean mentioned I've been on the faculty of U of O. I was actually in the data department, so I learned very early, don't just talk without giving some facts about why you're saying that this is such a terrific day, such a terrific moment, so unusual in what's happening as a result of this. So I think you've heard a little bit from some of the students, and that these are students who this is second careers and continuing to be looking. That's very typical in our nation this day. And that's one really important group of people when we think of the Innovation Learning Center. But there's another component, and that really is our students who are moving up the pipeline from early learning into kindergarten, through the grades, graduating from high school, and wanting the dream of going to college. But for many students, the dream of going to college isn't available, and it's not available typically for two reasons. The first one is affordability. Many students or families can't really afford the cost of college, and you've probably read about the debt in college and how hard it is. The second is, many students might be the first people in their family to ever think about going to college, and it's very scary. It's very scary to think of leaving your communities. And I would say, when I talk about the students in our rural communities, it's very scary to think of going to some place like this, where everyone knows everyone, to a place like the University of Oregon, where the college itself is 20,000 students. So what's it have to do with the Innovative Learning Center? Well, another big piece of the Innovative Learning Center, I think is really taking off next year, is making sure that high school students can take college credits in high school. And that's actually part of the work we're doing with the governor. Every school district has what's called an achievement compact, and on it says every student should get 9 college credits in high school. And when many communities are still trying to figure out how they can possibly do that, this community has made it happen. So what's happened here is through the Innovative Learning Center and the community college, they've begun to talk about let's offer classes. Let's offer classes so that our students can leave the community already having some of the basic skills they need to be successful. They've also done what's called the 5th year program, or beginning of 5th year program. And what the 5th year program is that you really can get those credits in high school, the districts pay for that, and then the students who couldn't access it because they couldn't have money can enter college with as much as 1 year of college already completed in high school. Now, we're not there yet, but we've got a really solid dream about that here in this community, and from what I saw today in the meeting for 2 hours, they're well on track to making it a reality for students. Let me tell you what's important about the 5th year program. I call it hand-holding. So I might be a high school student, and I think I want to go to college, but I'm a little nervous about it. Well, they stay connected to the school district because there's a 5th year program, and that school district helps them, holds their hand to come into a place like the Innovation and Learning Center or to go to the community college, but they always know that one teacher or counselor or administrator or community member that they're connected with in their community is still there for that what is a major transition for many, many students. The other beauty of the Innovative Learning Center is that in many communities, this is, I don't think, a well-known fact, a lot of students say I'm going to college, and by the end of summer, many of them never show up to college. So they stay home, they get nervous, they've lost the excitement of the whole class talking about where they're going to college, a job opens up, and they decide they're going to stay for the job, or they just decide I'll wait another year, and that year becomes 2 years and it doesn't happen. So the fact that this community is really thinking about how do we help with that critical transition point is unusual and it is important. And what I'll say to you is because of what this county is doing, we're now going to change the whole system in the state of Oregon. What was happening with 5th year programs is that if you were in a 5th year program, these are students who could graduate. But instead of graduating, you get what's it called? It's the walking, taking the next step certificate. So they don't get their diploma, they get a taking the next step. And they go into this 5th year program. Well, what's happened to that is it's counted across against the school district and how many graduates do they have. So here's a district with a sensational graduation rate. Because they knew it was the right thing to do for kids, because they were helping with the transition, they were willing to say, even if this lower our graduation rate, we're going to do it. Well, we at the state saw what was going on, and we said, that doesn't make any sense, that's not right, we have to break that barrier. So now, next year, because of what this community did, and a few others, all of the kids are in take-a-step programs like this one here. They'll still be counted as graduation in their 4th year, and then they'll continue into a 5th year program. My job at the state is to certainly work with communities, but my job is to scale up for every child in Oregon, no matter what district they are. And so not only are you helping the children in your community, but you're helping with a scale-up strategy. Because of you, we've removed a tremendous barrier that's not only going to work here, but it's going to work across the state. I think the other barriers that you've changed is just making this Innovation and Learning Center happen. And what I said earlier at the meeting is there's a lot of communities who want to do things like this, but what the conversation becomes about is why we can't do it. Where are we going to find the money? What if it counts against our graduation rate? What if we can't sustain it? And those attitudes paralyze them to the point they never get going. What I have seen here is possibility thinking. I call it line of sight. People have children, adults at the heart of everything they do. There are eyes on that target, and they're saying, we are going to make this happen no matter what it takes to make it happen. And that is what makes this community so very special. I'll have to say to you, sometimes when you're in a community, you don't see how unique you are. For someone like me who travels all around the state, this is not usual. This is very, very unique. That everyone at that table, I didn't hear one person, 1 minute today say we can't do it. They said we're going to get another grant. We're going to work with the state to change that rule. We're going to talk to this legislator. We're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And so it's happening, and it's happening today. And I think that that is really sensational. Let's talk about the students along their pathways and what they'd be saying about today. And I think the elementary kids would be saying, I'm watching you, thumbs up. That's what a lot of elementary kids say. I think the middle school kids would say, you rock, because that's what I hear a lot of middle school kids say. I think the high school would say, cool, dude, because that's what I hear a lot of the high school kids say. I don't think students going along the pathway really understand the power of today yet. I'm not sure they will until they get into that 5th grade program, where they're handed over to this wonderful community college, and then they can begin to think, is it OSU? Is it UFO? What's the next step that I can do? But here's the thing that really knocked my socks off, in addition to all these other things. The governor has 4 major initiatives in the education field, and you're actually showing us 2 of them in spades right here. The first one is called the Poverty to Prosperity Initiative. We're in communities all over the state that are suffering. They've lost their major industry, and we know we need to work with these communities to really make sure they find their next industry to celebrate what was this community and where we're going next. And I'm just going to use the example of healthcare because it's one that's very concrete and we can understand. There's a wonderful hospital here. Everybody has told me about it, a trendsetter in its own, because not everyone knows how to provide that sort of care in rural communities. And in a rural community, they desperately need nurses. So we have the center here that is helping make it. So someone who wants to be a nurse, who understands this community, who loves living in rural communities, who's not going to come here and stay 3 months because it was just too hard for them to really, work in a rural community if they've never been here. You've got a need in a hospital. You've got someone who wants to have a career in that. You've got an innovation learning center, school district, community college, with lots of partners putting together the center, and you'll have someone come out, fill a slot that you desperately need in your hospital. It will create a working job, one that you will love, and it will provide money for your family. And as part of that, you'll have some taxes that you'll pay, so you can go in and pay for education for children. So it's a complete cycle. It's really important. It makes our communities grow. It makes our public education system get better and better. And that's what we're seeing today. So when we're talking about poverty to prosperity, one of the governor's major initiatives, I'm seeing that here today. I'm seeing that happening through this innovation learning center. I'll tell you what the other 2 are, and the 4th one is the other one I'm really seeing here. And the second one too. The second one's about equity. So how do we help families whose children are in the, what we call opportunity gap, maybe their skill set isn't at the level they need, help them get up to the level they need, and how do we make sure that children who families have never gone to college and can be supported by a system that really helps them understand what is a very complex system. So I would say we're also working on that here. The next one is we call Reading Changes the Game, and I know the school district is working on this, so I think we're working on all four of them. And Reading Changes the Game is really about, if you're reading proficiently at third grade level, you have 4 times the chance of going to college than if you're not working at grade level. I know that the president of your community college is as concerned about third grade reading as is your superintendent, because they're working together in what is called, it's actually what we call the Regional Achievement Collaborative, that says we have to own every point along this pathway. Everyone has to own it. So now when we have our children reading proficiently at third grade, we have 4 times as much chances of them going to college. But the last one was the one I was specifically thinking of. And what that is really about is that when students move along the pathway, they have the skills to go to college, they have the opportunity to go to college. And that's what's being created with this Innovative Learning Center. Students can start in high school, they can get up to a year, they can have a handheld that moves them to a community college, they can get degrees, they can get certificates, they can decide they want to stop there and go to the world of work, or they can go into a 4-year college. So you're not only setting trends, you're also really hitting some of the key targets we have in the state. So the governor brings his highest regards. I was on the phone with him today at 1:15. I told him what I was here. He said they are just doing sensational stuff in this county, in Lake County, and I believe that too. So I want to just end with an experience I had pretty recently. So I was in an elementary school. It's what's called the No Excuses University. Some of our elementary schools are beginning to talk about college and elementary school. They actually adopt the university who takes over their classroom and stays connected to them. So as a ex-superintendent, you know, when you walk down the hall and you see a little child, like a first grader, walking down the hall, and they don't have a little, you know, red tag that says I'm going to the bathroom. You ask them where you're going just to make sure they're not just leaving school or something. So I said to this little boy, you know, hi, I'm visiting your school. I'm wondering where are you going? And he said, I'm going to college. When they're 5 and 6 years old, we're going to the rim from kindergarten, ready to go. And this community is making sure so that adorable little boy who says I'm going to college is going to college. So you rock. I just really appreciate being here, and do know not only are you all looking at what's happening, but many of us across the state are looking at the great things that are going on in Lake County and with the Innovation and Learning Center. So let's have a great day. It's a great day. It's a day of celebration, and let's give a hand to everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Gold. Boy, I really appreciate those words of wisdom. I think they hit home on a lot of chords. A lot of us that are in this room today. You know, she mentioned the focus on reading. Before I became superintendent, I was high school principal in a couple of school districts. And before I went in administration, I was a math teacher, and I really thought the world revolved around mathematics. But I soon learned when I was an administrator, it really doesn't. This is reading. And reading is essential for everything. Just everything. Even learning how to drive or passing a driver's test, huge driver's license. So, as a high school principal in other school districts, it was always frustrating to me having an incoming class of freshmen where I would have 25 to 35% of them not even reading at the second grade level. And I gotta say, that's not the case here in Lake County School District. There's a huge emphasis of reading. And I don't remember what the third grade reading scores were for this spring. My wife might remember, she works in that arena. But I do remember that the 10th graders at Lakeview High School, 86% of them scored the state benchmark on the reading test. So, as an example, also, we're very proud of all of our graduates. I've got to tell you a personal story. Part of this, the ILC project is expanding our new credit program. And we already have new credit going on. And it's a very strong program at Lakeview High School. We want to see more. We want to see more exposure. My daughter, or our daughter, Kayla, is going to be graduating from Oregon State University this Saturday. This is at the end of her 4th year of college. She'll be graduating as a double major in psychology and economics. And she would not have been able to achieve that if it wasn't for the 20 credits that she received from dual credit here at Lakeview High School where she graduated. So there's a great example of the impact that it makes for a young man or a young lady. We're seeing that personally. We're also seeing and hearing lots of stories of our graduates that go on to college that do talk about the meaning and value of the boost that they received here in Lake County School District for the college education. Dr. Golden talked about taking the next step. And what she referred to as the 5th-year program, we're calling the Advanced Diploma Program. And the next part of our agenda today is to have an official signing of the Advanced Diploma Program Memorandum of Understanding. Our board of directors just passed this MOU this last Monday. We've been looking at it for over a year. It's been being piloted by Klamath County School District, Klamath City School District, and KCC over this last year. So we've been kind of sitting back watching, letting them kind of work out all the bugs. And they have, and it's been a great success over there. And so we said, hey, we've got to be part of this. And so we had 4 students, 4 of our graduates this year that chose, this is their choice, they chose to receive the certificate rather than a diploma. And so we're withholding the diploma, we're holding it in safe, under lock and key. And they can receive that diploma anytime they want, but in the meantime, they're coming back, they're going to be attending school at an ILC this next year. And we're still able to receive state funding on this particular program. And we're going to be using those dollars to pay for their tuition and their books up to 36 credits. Now think about what that's going to do for a young man or young woman as they get started with their college career and just their career in general. It's a wonderful program, and I'm really excited about this. The challenge, and I even mentioned this at the graduation ceremony, was, and I'm stressing the word was because as of this morning when I talked to Dr. Golden, I didn't know this news. It was that it was going to negatively affect the graduation rate. But I gotta say, I did happiness when I heard that she has solved that issue for us, and which is huge, because that has been a major concern of our community, because we do take a lot of pride in our high graduation rates. Our 4-year cohort rate is 88.5%, our 5 years 98.5%, top 10% of the state of Oregon. And we're very, very proud of those accomplishments. And a lot of our employers like to see that also. And so we see that taking the next step, our Advanced Diploma Program, is just the next step in the process, and we're very, very excited about this. So at this time, I'm going to invite Mike Getty, our business manager, to come up and participate in the signing ceremony, because his name is on the Memorandum of Understanding also. And we're going to go ahead and sign the agreement. And so we sign, sealed, and done.
Thanks, Sean. Music of introductions, Marie Jensen. She is the one that oversees actually all the student programs. She's on the residence cabinet, and she'll be working actually with all of them here. So, including the workforce, Christy, and so on. So you're going to see a lot of them over here. I also want to thank both, because the school certificate teaching came out of the DFL system, and for that reference, the Oregon State University School of Education. And I just want to thank you, because when I was in the classroom, I got my energy from you, from the students. That's what kept me going. Because once I got into administration, I was So I used to get it every now and then, but I lost it. So whenever we just got together in negotiations with our faculty union, you just re-energized me. I'm going to go for another 6 months after hearing your stories. And I really appreciate it, that you remind me what it's about. It's about human potential. And that allows me to keep on going. So thank you for that. Thank you for your stories. I also want to talk real quickly here about our outreach program. And I want to share the story. You probably heard the other day, I shared with our employees, and that includes Christy, our employees. You heard the story, so you probably have heard this. But we're going into our program. It's LPN, right into the RN without loss of credit. And I've been an examiner for colleges and universities for the Northwest Commission. So I visited, as an examiner on behalf of the commission, I visited other community colleges, gone to their programs. But I've never experienced what I'm about to share. We went to the nursing wards, and Charlie, obviously, you were there, our CEO of the hospital. And I never seen anything like this. I felt like I was at a tribunal. I mean, these people were facing them out, and the kind of questions they had almost felt like, yes, you may approach the bench kind of language. It was very difficult. As it should be, thinking about this. It's difficult to get an RN program better because these are the students that are going to be working on us. And I don't want them to experiment on me. So I want you to know your stuff. So anyway, they would ask us questions, and we would give an answer. And we wanted to talk about faculty first, our faculty. And she was up front, and we were in the back, and we couldn't go up front until we were almost called to the bench. That's how I seen it. And she was having a difficult time. She was nervous, as she should be. And I thought we're not going to make it. And Charlie, obviously, you were there, and you might share this. And I was thinking, I don't know if we're going to make it, because they were asking us questions on, what are we going to program? The metro area fulfills some of your needs. It's like, are you kidding me? This is rural. But as an administrator, it was hard for me to say that, and for our faculty. So then Charlie was next to me, and so I said, Charlie, I think you're going to have to go up there. And he kept saying, I'm going to go up there. So we had our chief academic officer next to me. She was very, very nervous, and she had a pen, and as we went up and down, they asked me this question, she kept drilling into her hand. I thought she was going to drop out. She was so nervous, like, we weren't going to make it. So finally I said, Charlie, you're just going to have to go out there. We need you right now. And I have to say, through this partnership, he did it. He just went right up there, and I have to say, Charlie, publicly, you hit it out the ballpark. Because you really articulated the need for this program, the rural program. It's different than the metro area. People are getting it. So this is really a way to really, an example of a partnership together, because of what you did in the county. Now we are moving forward with a program for both counties. But it took that, and I just want you to know that your local CEO saved our bacon. So thank you so much. A little bit about our advanced diploma. This in our county. This was about, about a year and a half ago? We all sat down together and said, how can we serve our community better? We got a problem. We got a problem. These students are not seeing that college is for them. How can we do that? We brainstormed and several hours, and I believe Julie, you and some of the other vice presidents over there. Finally, we came up, and I have to give you credit because actually this was your idea. And then you shared some of these ideas that some of the community colleges are doing, but they were not taking it to scale. I believe we have a great need, and that's what we've done now. And we went to our superintendents, they've seen how this could work, we made it happen. 164 students, I believe, actually last year. The retention is higher than the general population. It takes, it takes a little bit more hand. That's correct. It does, but it is working. Now, for the first time, a lot of them didn't see themselves in the college. And now, really, they are working on it. Moving on, and Dr. Golden, tomorrow, Dr. Golden's our keynote tomorrow, our graduation. You're going to see an example of this. This is what Dr. Golden's going to see tomorrow. We're going to give an example. There's a lot of them that got their certificates in 1 year. That's great. But she's going to see tomorrow, she's going to see one student that we're going to hire from Gallagher County Schools. And Superintendent Tveit will be there. That student, because he took advantage of the dual credit that we had, and then he took advantage of the 1 year, he's going to get his high school diploma. Superintendent Tveit will give him the high school diploma. I will give him the 2-year degree. And this is very important. No student debt. That is critical. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, you're going to see the beginning, the K-12 partnership. Then after that, you're going to see the university partnership. And thanks to Mama, Oregon State University, because they also made themselves available. And they did see that line we were talking about. That line, they see the vision. And then they take risks that we have, that you do here, Sean, that we done over there. So what you're going to see tomorrow, you're going to see a student that is getting their 2-year degree and their bachelor's of science degree in agriculture at the same time. Also, so that means that they really expedite their degree. And that's going to be tomorrow. So you're going to see from the K-12 all the way to the bachelor's degree. And we are very proud of that. And again, that's what keeps me going. So that's part of the beginning of the K-12. And we have to continue to do these kind of things. There's, in reality, the way I see this is life service. Because, again, I mentioned this earlier, there's a workforce transformation happening across the country. And some of us are still up there. We think it's still the old paradigm. It's not. If you don't have some kind of post-secondary education, you're going to be poor. That's what the facts show. That's the data shows that. There's 70% of new jobs that require that. The other 30%, well, that's minimum wage. That's poverty. There's always going to be a need for that. But we cannot have that. So either way, we as taxpayers have to pay for it. I rather pay for the education. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to the partnership here in Lake County. And I think we worked out some of the bugs, but not quite. We're still saving some for you. So thank you.
How did we get here? It's amazing. A couple of things before we start our question and answer session. Dr. Golden is going to talk with the audience, interact with you guys, answer questions, just dialogue. Make sure that you picked up brochures back on the table. You can certainly pick one up and wait out if you'd like. This brochure is a great tool that you can use to communicate to others about the Innovation Learning Center, initial programming, everything's provided, contact information, those sorts of things. Before we go to a question and answer, I think a little bit of information background on the facility, I think is warranted. The Innovation Learning Center is located in David Middle School, North Wing. We're in the south wing. North Wing was built in 1910. It's our oldest building that we have in the district. And I think it's important to reflect that the average age of a school building, or average life of a school building, I should say, in the state of Oregon, is 40 to 45 years. So we've certainly surpassed that many times over. And we just completed the seismic retrofit project. It's our third project of that nature in the district. This last summer in this North Wing. And it's added another 50 to 60 years of life onto that facility. And it's really because this is a very historical building. And there's a lot of heritage. If you notice out front, we have a new Innovation Learning Center sign out front. It's not adhered to the building, because what's adhered to the building above the doorway, it says Daly Middle School. And above that, it says Lakeview High School, 1910. We wanted to make sure we preserved that heritage, preserve that history. Also, with the Daly name, it has a lot to do with our collegiate scholarship programs with the current Daly Fund. I do believe there's around 120 students being served with either the daily or the Collins McDonald or sometimes the Bert Schneider or the Housley Fund. It's all kind of combined into one. 120 students a day, $400 per year. That's absolutely tremendous, and it's created quite a college-going culture and heritage within our county and our community. We did not want to lose that. And also, with the seismic work, we were not able to do all the finished work, and so there'll be tours given later on after this event, and you might have a chance to peek into an area that doesn't look exactly finished. Well, that's okay, that's by design. We ran out of funding. The seismic piece is done. It's stout, it's safe, it's been preserved in terms of its life expectancy. And we have been working on some grant funding. Jim Walls from LCRI has got to be credited with a lot of his ingenuity and innovativeness with grants. He's been kind of our secret weapon, but you got to promise me you can't say anything outside of the room. But Jim was able to establish a $500,000 grant for the state legislative assembly this last year for capital improvements for the ILC facility in this North Wing. We'll be able to do a lot of that finish work that needs to be done. Also, he just received a large grant from the Oregon Community Foundation to do a lot of the foundational work that still needs to be done for the ILC. We're still in the middle of forming a governance committee that the structure has been approved by our board of directors. So there's still a lot of work to be done. Also, another thing that I want to point out, and Charlie, I know you've been given some accolades tonight, and I'm going to do some more here, as well as Mike Patrick, our mayor of the town of Lakeview. These gentlemen have been instrumental in an agreement between Lake County School District, Town of Lakeview, and the hospital in terms of the geothermal heating network. And for us, we're no longer burning 45,000 gallons of diesel fuel every year. And take that and multiply it by the price of I will never forget this date. It's etched in my brain as long as I live. December 17th, 2013. That was the day we flipped the switch. I walked into the boiler room at the high school. I see my two maintenance people standing there. The boilers are silent for the first time. And they're looking at me with a big grin on their face saying, wow, this is pretty cool. And it is. And so we're very thankful for the organizational skills of the gentlemen. It was a lot of negotiating, a lot of funding risks taken, and I also got to give a lot of credit to Darrell Anderson, the Anderson Engineering. It's an award-winning project for folks. He was awarded a recognition in Portland a couple months ago for the engineering that went into this project. So just keep that in mind as you tour the facility today. Geothermally heated. All of our buildings in this district are now geothermally heated. Also, we've had lighting retrofits, window retrofits for energy efficiencies. You're going to see larger classroom spaces with high ceilings. Most of the new construction for schools have lower ceilings. So that's kind of a nice thing to see. And it's really just a kind of cool place to learn and study, don't you think? Would you ladies agree? It is. So we have a lot of plans for that project. Another outcome of the Oregon Solutions Project, and again, keep in mind, it's people from across the state networking around a common goal, and that's the ILC, is the board just passed through the night an MOU with Obsidian Renewables to put in a solar farm. And that farm is going to go just next to the district office on the western half of that $1 alfalfa field that's sitting there. Some kind of blue badge. And this particular project is 200 kilowatts, and it's going to provide about 80% of the electricity needs for our secondary campus, which includes the ILC, the MS South Wing, Lakeview High School, the egg shop, and we're pretty excited about that project. That is partially funded by a grant for the Department of Energy, and we'll be breaking ground next summer, and so you'll see lots of activity there next summer. A lot of you are probably thinking, wait a second, that's where the greenhouse is. Well, we were able to broker some dollars with this to be able to move the greenhouse from next to district office over to right behind or between the high school and the EMS North Wing. And there's a lot of advantages there because right now our students have to walk from the high school over to the greenhouse and do their stuff and walk back. A lot of wasted instructional time, a lot of inefficiencies. Also, when we move it over here, so it'll really increase instructional time that we have available. It'll also be integrated with the ILC for the 4-year ag degree program that Dr. Gutierrez has broken for us, as well as we have potential of heating up the geothermal heating system, so we no longer have to burn all that propane, pay those propane bills that my video so used to run big checks for. So we're pretty excited about a lot of the facility projects that are going into this. And I've just got to say that I'm very pleased with the progress we've been making. Sometimes I have to pinch myself in terms of how many people have come together on this and how there's so much energy in this community for this Innovation and Learning Center. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Gold for question and answer. And I want to impress upon you folks, this is your opportunity to dialogue with the Chief Education Officer of the State of Oregon. Quite an opportunity. And as I think you can see, she's a very, very personal lady. She likes to interact. She has a heart of gold, a passion for education. And so I'm just going to turn it over to her for facilitation and go from there. Dr. Gold.
About innovation, all those other things I think you guys to talk about. So let me just say that, the governor, I think every governor, we create policy at the state level. Hopefully it's informed from the local communities, because certainly that's the way we want it to work. But the governor believes deeply that things get implemented in the communities, and he's really set up structures for that to happen. So the Oregon Solution Project means that people like Mike come from Oregon Solution Centers to really start working on solutions to economic problems. We have the Regional Achievement Collaboratives that work on education problems, the CCOs, which are the community care organizations. They're all working at the ground level to see if these policies really can be implemented. They give us feedback about, are they the right policies, or are they not the right policies? So I do want you to know we're right in the middle of developing legislative concepts right now. So this is a critical time for me to hear from you. I have a very strong backbone, so it's okay if what you want to share with me is something you think's not working. But what I really love to hear from you is, in terms of your community, what do you want me to know about as I go back and work at the state level to help you get what we need as a community? And is there anything we're doing at the state level that unintentionally is a barrier? So I'm hoping some people will step up. I can do an activity to help us out. So you might take a few minutes to talk to each other. Just talk to your partner for 5 or 6 minutes, and then I'll come up and see if someone's got something to say. Because I've got a pen and a piece of paper, and I want to get some good feedback to take back. So I know this group back here has been talking about broadband. That is something I've heard since I've come here, and I've also heard a little bit in some other rural communities that we need to get kind of connectivity to particularly rural Oregon. And even if you're connected, we need more speed, so that we can really do a lot more things without people having to travel 4 or 5 hours to go to meetings or get education. So I definitely am writing that one down. Anyone think anything else they want to tell me? Okay, good.
Well, I think that it's about the ability, particularly in rural areas, to find grant writers with expertise. Some of us learned it through life, and went to school. When you're competing out there, the funding, the pool that goes, the funds that go to rural areas are so small. And I used the example one time when I was working in the state of Washington. I went to Seattle, talked with the Southern Restoration Group. I was writing restoration grants. They had a skyscraper, one whole floor, 250 people writing grants. I went, oh, that's what I can do. And we don't get that expertise on there. We need to test with it. There's some of the things we do rely on grant programs. Is that good?
I will write that down because, there's other states that are starting to do things like a funder comes to the community and you just get to present the big idea, the concept. So it doesn't take writing these, extensive grants because sometimes the communities who have the best idea don't have the grant writing. It's not that they're not a community who probably implement it in many cases better. So one thing I've heard loud and clear, we put out $75 million worth of grants this year, but it was it felt like a real disadvantage to the little communities. And even if they had a great grant writer, they couldn't keep up with it because it's one person compared to the whole floor of other people. So we're trying to think about doing strategies differently. So, it might be like we say, your project needs to help high school kids get credits. If you agree to do that, you just get the money, but we don't have to write a grant for it. We have to promise to deliver on the outcome. So thank you, that is another issue. Anything else? Okay.
Well, along the same lines is that in a rural school, some of your faculty wear a bunch of hats. So they wear multiple things. And then when they're having to compete or even put together the compacts, the regional compacts, it's hard because they have so many other things to do. So if there's a way to find some other kind of assistance or support, it's the same idea, but it's when you go to small towns, it's like when any small town, people do many things. One person does many things. In the larger urban districts, it just doesn't, it's not that way. And there's some resentment in small towns about that. So it's the same thing you're talking about. If we can figure out a way for smaller school districts to be comparably competitive in large ones. Yeah, I like that idea of getting money for, just do it.
Yeah, there's what we call side work. I think that issue's another, by the way, the urban areas have the same thing. There's so many requirements. There's achievement compacts, there's these Division 22s, there's school improvement plans. So we haven't crossed this barrier yet, but my goal is that we only have one document that people need to do, and that it's really made a lot simpler. Like, here's the target, what's your theory of action to get to that target? So we're really working on that. We haven't gotten there yet because many of these things that you're required to fill out are, in administrative rules, so it's going to take us a while. Some of them are even in law for us to undo some of that stuff. But then the other thing that goes on, the Oregon Department of That is really working hard at shifting. But I know a lot of times as a superintendent, I was asked to give them data that's housed up at the Oregon Department of Ed. So part of our thing around the longitudinal database is if we ask you to do a document, we need to pre-populate all the data, because that takes a long time to find the data, to synthesize the data. So we would give that to you and then what you're really responsible with. So what's the goal and what's the theory of action to get there, and to make that much more nimble and easy to do. So we are working on that, but we're not there yet. Any other thoughts? Yeah, thank you.
As business manager, I would like to see the legislature appropriate more money towards infrastructure and maintenance. In small communities like us, we're hurting economically, especially in Eastern Oregon. And to pass a levy or bond can be very difficult in a community like this, and it can be hardship on the people, the taxpayers. So I would like to see the legislature appropriate more money towards infrastructure and maintenance.
So there is a committee right now that's meeting around that. I think, another thing people look at is that our higher ed institutions, they get matches, and K-12 doesn't have that. But I think there's kind of three things I'm going to take back from this visit. The first thing is maybe for rural communities that even if they pass the bond the way they're taxed, they wouldn't produce much money, and I think you're one of those communities. For those communities, something different has to be done. One thing I've discovered in this job, we always try to do the same thing for everyone, and yet we're very different. I mean, rural communities are not the same as urban communities. How communities can leverage resources are not the same. And so we might need to look at some of these very rural communities with a unique thing that if they passed about and still won't get them much money, and say we have to do something different. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but you know, I agree with you, and I think that's something that's really, really important. This is very costly to keep up buildings. You know, I'm in this building, and just think of all the wonderful things that occurred in this building. I think it's so fabulous that it's going to be back online and it's serving a good purpose. So there's a lot of things we can do with economic development around that too. So I definitely will deliver that message. Anything else? It's really good. And I'm beginning to hear themes, which is great, because then I know that there are things that are raised and we need to really get thinking about.
We keep raising the standards on our students, which we should. We need more rigor in the classroom. We're asking more and more to change the standards. We have less time with students in the classroom. We have teacher training days, everything else that we want more of that. Is there any thoughts on changing the school attendance times, extending the miracle days?
Yeah. It's a very tricky piece in that people do need staff development and training, and yet students need to be in school. So, you know, I would say, of course, one way for us to do this is if we can keep increasing the money that goes to public education, then school districts can bring back the days they've lost and maybe even extend them. So I know we're thinking really hard about and communicating about the importance of having students in school. We're also trying to come up with some of the best practices around how can you do training in a way that you don't need to have a teacher out of the classroom. And there is becoming a lot of new ways of doing that, and a lot of it has to do with online solutions, which goes back to the broadband issue. You know, a lot of them, you know, so there's some different things we need to do around there, but, you know, we really need to extend the day, and then we need to extend students' opportunities too, because, again, there are places that one way they extend the day is that they're beginning to have one-to-one initiatives with their kids where at night they give a project and the kids are online and there's a person there who can support them when they're online. So we're beginning to think about that, but I agree with you that you can't keep raising the standards and at the same time have kids in school less amount of time. The other thing that's really important to us is proficiency. Because when we know a child meets a certain standard, we want to make sure that the kids who get there get the opportunity to accelerate their learning. This program really helps, these college programs, but sometimes what we find is that, students aren't having an opportunity for the curriculum to meet them at their own level. We've got some kids who really what would be best for them, and I think it was sort of like you were saying, where you get to go practice what you're learning in the classroom. We have some students that need an opportunity to be out and work, but all of it about how we extend learning is really important. And actually, we are putting together a legislative concept, I believe, which will say, how do we use summer? How do we use after-school times? What are the other times where we can really extend learning for students? So we have many students who, if a week or two before school started, you could bring them in early and make sure that they hit the year ready to go, we could do that. So we are beginning to think about that. It's not as developed as it needs to be, but I've got it on the list now, so thank you. Anything else? I think my time is, yes, one more thing and then we'll stop.
Dr. Golden to Lily Cannon, County Chamber of Commerce. I believe we really need to find a way to instill a spirit of volunteerism in our youth, to instill a buy-in in that regard. to allow them an opportunity to feel the values of just intrinsic motivation of being good civic representatives and gaining self-concept building in that regard.
Yeah. So volunteerism, how do we really take that? Those sorts of things tend to happen more at the community level, but I'll tell you, these are just conversations going on. One conversation going on is for the students who get college credit in high school for free, could we ask them to commit to giving back to communities? You know what I mean? At least to sign something that says, my community got this from me, so I'm signing to say, at some time, I want to give back to the community. And that maybe even if it's not a precise thing. So those are the kind of conversations coming out of these programs where we're getting more college credits in high school. So thank you. Well, I think I'm over time. Thank you. This is really helpful. And thanks so much for taking time to be with me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm going to leave you with one parting thought. It's a quote from President Woodrow Wilson that says, "We should not only use all the brains we have, but all that we can borrow." And really that's what this project has been about. And so thank you so much for your participation. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everybody's energies with this. And especially those that aren't sitting here in this room today that have had a significant impact on this project.